At 14, my dad hit me twice and threw me into a blizzard because of my sister's lies. My mom found out the truth, took me in, and tore the family apart. Years later, they've lost everything, and I've built a life they'll never enter. Hey, Reddit. When I was 14, my dad believed my sister's performance over my actual alibi, hit me twice, and threw me into a blizzard. I survived, rebuilt everything, and moved on. But the people who broke me weren't finished. Before we get there, let me start at the beginning. This happened in Wisconsin when I was 14. December, the middle of the worst blizzard in 3 years. The kind where the weather report stops sounding dramatic and starts sounding like instructions. Life-threatening, do not travel. I was at the kitchen table around 3:30, grinding through algebra. Quadratics, pure misery. Our teacher used an online portal that logged activity, so I had it open too, clicking through problems as I worked. My sister Brittany was 17 and had been on Dad since breakfast about driving her to the mall. The whining didn't stop. It just changed volume. Dad kept saying no. He was a real estate agent and lived for image and reputation, but even he could see the roads turning into death traps. Ice everywhere, visibility collapsing, wind picking up by the hour. Brittany didn't handle no well. She wore people down until they caved, and Dad usually folded. Not this time. She stomped upstairs around 4 and slammed her door hard enough to rattle the hallway frames. I stayed at the table. Dad went back to his paper. Normal Saturday, until it wasn't. Dad had a pattern with us. Brittany broke curfew and he laughed it off. I forgot the trash once and got a 10-minute lecture about responsibility and the family name. That morning, Brittany left dishes in the sink. Nothing. I left my jacket on a chair and got told I was making the house look like a disaster. Mom was out of town taking care of her sister after knee surgery. She'd left Wednesday and wasn't supposed to be back until Tuesday. Brittany absolutely planned around that. Mom was a paramedic and had spent years spotting liars. She would have asked questions Dad didn't. Brittany had always been the favorite. Not subtle about it. She got a car at 16. I got a used bike from a garage sale. She got the bigger room and her own bathroom. I learned early. Stay quiet. Don't make waves. Expect less. Then, maybe 20 minutes after she went upstairs, she came back down. It couldn't have been much past 4:20. Her shirt was torn at the collar, makeup smeared. Mascara ran down her face in perfect dramatic streaks. She was sobbing so hard she could barely stand, hyperventilating like she'd been dragged through hell. Dad's newspaper slipped out of his hands and hit the floor. Then Brittany started talking, between gasps, between sobs. She said I'd followed her upstairs, said I shoved her into the wall because I was jealous she was Dad's favorite, said I grabbed her shirt and ripped it, grabbed her face, told her I wished she'd never been born. She said I'd been sending threatening texts for months, cornering her when our parents weren't around, that she'd been too scared to say anything because I promised I'd make it worse. Every word was a lie. I tried explaining, fast, panicked, pointing at the table like it could save me. My homework was spread out with fresh pencil marks, half-finished problems. My textbook was open. The portal was right there, logged in. I hadn't moved except to sharpen my pencil. Dad could see me from his chair the entire time. And I don't even have texting, I said. It's an old flip phone, calls only. And I don't even have social media accounts. Dad knew that. He was the one who refused to upgrade it. For half a second, his eyes flicked toward the homework, toward the screen, toward the shape of my phone in my pocket. One tiny moment where he could have checked, could have thought. Then his face hardened. He wasn't hearing me. He was hearing a story about a son who hurts girls. Something that would stain his reputation. Something people would whisper about. The idea hit his ego like a personal attack. "Stop lying," he said. "You're embarrassing this family." I kept talking, kept pointing at the obvious timeline, kept trying to make him use his brain for 5 seconds. Nothing worked. He crossed the kitchen in 3 strides, grabbed my arm hard enough to leave marks, and yanked me out of the chair. My water glass flew, hit the tile, and shattered. The crash made Brittany's sobbing get louder, like she'd turned the performance up to match the moment. Dad started yelling about what kind of person I was. How dare I hurt my sister? How people would think. The family name, his house, his rules. The louder he got, the less human he sounded. His grip tightened. I cried out, and he took it as more acting. "You think this is funny?" he snapped. "You think you can embarrass this family?" The first slap came out of nowhere. Open palm, full force. My head snapped sideways. I tasted blood where my teeth cut my cheek. Dad had never hit me before. Not once. The second slap sent me backward into the counter. My hip smashed the edge and pain flared up my side like electricity. Through the blur, I saw Brittany in the doorway. She wasn't crying anymore, not even a little. No shaking breath, no sobs, just calm, watching. arms crossed, a small, satisfied smile sitting on her face like she'd won something. That's when I knew. This wasn't a tantrum. This was an impulse. She'd built it, waited until Mom was gone, torn her own shirt, smeared her own makeup, picked a story she knew would push Dad's buttons, because tears and drama always worked on him, especially if it let him feel like a protector. And Dad didn't need proof. He just needed a villain. Dad dragged me to the front door, hand clamped on my upper arm like a vice. I wasn't begging, wasn't going to give him the satisfaction, just trying to get him to think for 5 seconds. Look at the actual timeline. The storm outside had gotten significantly worse. Wind screaming around the house like something alive. Snow piling against the railing faster than I'd ever seen. He shoved me outside. I was wearing jeans, a thin hoodie I'd been wearing all weekend, and falling apart sneakers. No coat, no gloves, no hat. The cold was instant and brutal. Knocked the wind out of me. Made my chest seize up. That kind of cold that hurts immediately. Penetrates every layer within seconds. Door slammed. I heard the deadbolt slide with this final, terrible click that cut through the wind. I didn't pound on the door. Didn't scream and beg. What's the point? He'd made his choice. Through the window, I could see Brittany in the entryway. Arms still crossed, that satisfied smirk on her face. She saw me looking. Her smile got wider. Then she turned and walked away. My phone was in my pocket, but useless. It must have taken the hit when my hips slammed into the counter. Screen cracked, wouldn't turn on. Dead or broken, didn't matter which. 2 options. Stand there and freeze to death, or move. My girl best friend Aurora lived 5 blocks away. On a normal day, 10-minute walk tops, in a blizzard with visibility at maybe 5 feet and snow coming down like a wall? Different situation entirely. Temperature was around 5 degrees, according to the weather report that morning. Wind chill probably -20 by now. I found out later it was even worse than I thought. I started walking. Had to. Standing still meant hypothermia. Meant dying on my own porch, while my family watched TV inside. Snow was past my ankles immediately. Drifts came up to my waist in spots. I fell within the first block, hands plunging into snow so deep I couldn't find bottom. Had to dig myself out. My fingers went numb fast, that pins and needles feeling turning into nothing. The wind was violent, not just strong, but unpredictable. Pushing from every direction, disorienting. Couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. Streetlights were just fuzzy halos in the whiteout, barely visible through the snow. Every house I passed had lights on, warm yellow glows through curtained windows. Families eating dinner, watching TV, normal Saturday stuff. Could see people moving around, kids playing, completely unaware of what was happening outside. I wanted to knock on every door, but shame kept me moving. How do you explain this? Your dad threw you out because your sister lied and he believed her without asking a single question? Who believes that? Second block, I tried one house. Walked up to the porch, raised my hand to knock. Saw the curtain move. Someone looked out. Then the curtain dropped back. No one came to the door. By the third block, my thinking wasn't straight anymore. Cold does that. Messes with your brain. Kept forgetting where I was going. Had to remind myself. Aurora's house. 5 blocks. Keep walking. Don't stop. There was this moment, maybe 30 seconds, where I thought about just stopping. Sitting down in the snow, closing my eyes, letting it happen. Would have been easy. Peaceful even. But that felt like letting Brittany win. Like proving her right somehow. So I kept moving. Aurora's house appeared through the snow like a mirage. Porch light on, this warm glow cutting through the storm. Most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I stumbled up the driveway, fell twice climbing the porch steps. Legs just gave out. Wouldn't hold my weight. Had to crawl the last few steps on hands and knees. Couldn't knock because my hands wouldn't work. Fingers wouldn't bend. So I kicked the door with whatever strength I had left. Weak thumps I was sure no one would hear. Then Mrs. Miller opened the door. She took one look and gasped. Sharp intake of breath, hand flying to her mouth. Pulled me inside without asking anything. Just grabbed my hoodie and hauled me over the threshold. Her hands felt burning hot against my frozen face. She yelled for her husband. Mr. Miller came running from the living room, stopped dead when he saw me. Jesus Christ, he said. What happened? They wrapped me in blankets from the hall closet, sat me by their fireplace. The heat was almost unbearable at first, made my skin prickle and sting. They brought me something hot to drink, but I couldn't hold the mug. Fingers wouldn't cooperate. Mrs. Miller had to hold it for me. For the first hour, they didn't let me drift off. Mrs. Miller kept talking to me, making me answer questions, making sure I stayed responsive. Aurora came downstairs in sweatpants and a hoodie, took one look, and her eyes went huge. Oh my God, she said quietly. Just stood there staring. The Millers didn't push for explanation right away, just focused on warming me up, making sure I didn't have serious frostbite. Mrs. Miller checked my face, jaw tightening when she saw the handprint on my cheek, the swelling on my jaw. Mr. Miller brought dry clothes, thick wool socks, oversized sweater. I shook the whole time, teeth clacking hard enough to hurt. Eventually, Mrs. Miller asked what happened. Gentle, careful, not pushing. I gave them the clipped version. Brittany lied about me attacking her. Dad believed her without asking questions. Hit me twice, threw me outside in the storm, locked the door. I walked here. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40. Time got weird. Mr. Miller's face went dark. Dangerous quiet. Mrs. Miller looked like she wanted to hit something. We need to call someone, Mr. Miller said. Call his mom first, Mrs. Miller said. They started arguing. Mr. Miller wanted to call 911 immediately. Mrs. Miller thought they should try to reach Mom first. If we call the police, they might send him back there tonight. They won't send him back if they see those bruises. Mr. Miller pulled out his phone and dialed 911. Put it on speaker. The dispatcher answered. He explained the situation. Kid showed up half frozen with visible injuries from assault. Ambulances are delayed because of the storm, the dispatcher said. Keep him warm, keep him awake, watch his fingers and toes. An officer might get there faster than medical. We're triaging life-threatening calls first, the dispatcher added. Roads are blocked in multiple areas. An officer may not reach you for several hours. Mr. Miller muted the phone and swore under his breath. They're slammed. They said it could take hours. Mrs. Miller's face tightened. Hours, she repeated quietly. Okay, then we do everything ourselves until they get here. She got her camera, took photos of the handprint on my face, the bruising on my jaw, the marks on my arm, photos of my wet, inadequate clothing. Mr. Miller wrote down what time I arrived, what I was wearing, basic timeline. Evidence, he said, in case you need it later. Aurora helped me to the guest room around 9, told me where the bathroom was, left the door cracked. Once the shaking slowed and I could answer clearly again, they finally let me lie down. Door cracked, lights on, checking me every so often. My parents are going to follow up with your mom as soon as we can reach her. But you're safe here tonight. Thanks. I couldn't sleep, though. Kept checking the window, checking the door. Made sure it was locked. Around 1 in the morning, I heard the house phone ring. Mr. Miller answered. Who is this? Pause. No, we're not sending him out. It's a blizzard. He's staying here. His voice got harder. I don't care what your side is. Your son showed up here half frozen with a handprint on his face. Another pause. Don't even think about it. If you show up at this house, I'm calling the police immediately. Around 2, I heard a car outside. Footsteps on the porch. Knock at the door. Mr. Miller answered. Different voice this time. Official. Evening. We got a call about a runaway juvenile at this address, and we also got a separate call from this address about an injured minor. He's not a runaway. His father assaulted him and threw him outside in a blizzard. We still need to do a welfare check. In our town, the station was close, and they were already out responding to storm calls. Mr. Miller appeared at my door. Police want to talk to you. You don't have to go back with them. I came out. 2 cops in the living room. They looked at my face, at the bruises, and their expressions shifted. What happened to your face? The older cop asked. My dad hit me. Why? My sister lied about me attacking her. He believed her. Where's your mom? A few hours away, taking care of her sister. The cops exchanged looks. Your dad called saying you ran away. Said he was worried about you. I didn't run away. He threw me out. The older cop made notes. Took photos of the bruises themselves. We're filing a report. Your mom can work with us on next steps when she gets here. After they left, Aurora knocked quietly. Can't sleep either? Not really. She sat on the floor against the wall. Not too close, giving me space. My parents won't let anything happen to you. Neither will I. You can't promise that. No, but we'll try really hard. That actually helped. Mrs. Miller got through to Mom around 7:30 the next morning. Found a mutual neighbor who had Mom's sister's number. Mom arrived at the Miller house by 10. She left before sunrise and white-knuckled the whole drive. When she saw me, her face did this thing I'd never seen before. This mix of grief and pure fury. Mrs. Miller showed her the photos. Walked her through everything. Mom looked at each photo, jaw getting tighter with every image. She hugged me so hard I thought my ribs would break, then pulled back, studied my face, traced the bruises with her fingertips so gently it barely registered. We're going to the hospital. Right now. I'm fine. You're not fine. You have potential frostbite and documented assault injuries. We're going. She took me to the ER. Got everything documented officially. Doctor examined the bruises, noted the pattern, handprint on left cheek, spreading bruise on jaw, finger-shaped marks on right upper arm, checked my hands and feet for frostbite. Minor damage to 3 fingers, 2 toes. The ER doctor made notes, lots of notes, said she was required to file a report. Mandated reporter. Mom was already ahead of her. I'm calling CPS as soon as we leave here. Mom bought me a basic smartphone that afternoon. No fancy stuff, because she refused to risk me being unreachable again. We got back to the Miller house around 1. Mom made the call to CPS from her car, gave them specific details. The CPS worker sounded overworked and tired. Has this happened before? No. Any history of violence in the home? Not physical violence, no. They scheduled a home visit for Monday. Said they'd send someone to talk to Dad. Then she drove us home. Well, to the house. Wasn't home anymore. When we walked in, Dad was sitting at the kitchen table with coffee and the Sunday paper. Still in his bathrobe. The broken glass from yesterday had been swept up. Kitchen looked normal. He looked up. Face went from surprised to guilty when he saw me. The bruises were spectacular by then. Purple and yellow. He opened his mouth. Mom held up one hand. Don't talk. Listen. Her voice was quiet, but had this power behind it that filled the room. Brittany appeared in the doorway, still in pajamas. She froze when she saw us. Mom turned to look at her. Whatever Brittany saw in that look made her actually take a step back. Mom laid it out. Cold, clinical, zero emotion. The timeline proved I was at the kitchen table. The Miller family would testify to my condition when I arrived. Photos documented the injuries. Medical records confirmed minor frostbite, exposure injuries. Mandated reporter filing from the ER police report from the welfare check. 5 blocks in that weather was potentially deadly. Temperature was 5 degrees. Wind chill -20. In those conditions, minutes matter. He could have died out there. Dad tried interrupting. I was protecting. You were protecting your pride. You ignored obvious contradictions because it was easier than admitting you were wrong. She turned to Brittany. Tell the truth. Now. All of it. Silence stretched out. Finally, Brittany's shoulders dropped. The confession came out grudgingly. She wanted to go to the mall. Got mad about being told no. Decided to create a distraction big enough that Dad would forget the original argument. And she knew the fastest way to control him was to make him angry at me. Yes, she ripped her own shirt. Yes, she smudged her own makeup. Yes, she made up the entire story. All of it. Fabricated. Dad's face went gray. Then Mom snapped. Just for a second. All that controlled fury broke through. Do you understand what you did? You nearly killed him. Your son. Because you were too proud to ask one question. One. Dad flinched. Get out of my sight. Pack your things and get out. She turned away, pressed her palms against the counter, taking deep breaths. After maybe 10 seconds, she turned back around. Voice controlled again. Sorry, that wasn't helpful. But it kind of was. Mom's response was systematic once she got control back. You're moving out, today. Papers get filed tomorrow morning. I already spoke to an attorney, and everything from the hospital and police is documented. Dad tried arguing. Mom's face stayed granite hard. You nearly killed your son. That's catastrophically poor judgment. Brittany got her own consequences. You'll finish the school year here. Then you're moving in with your father. Brittany started protesting. Mom cut her off. You saw him freezing on the porch and smiled? That wasn't a mistake. That was cruelty. Dad packed under Mom's supervision. He tried apologizing to me 3 or 4 times. Voice cracking. The words felt hollow. Sorry doesn't undo assault. He reached for a framed photo on the mantel, one of Mom and me, like he still had a claim to it. Mom's hand shot out. That's mine. Keep packing. He pulled his hand back. Went back to his suitcase without arguing. He left around 3. Mom stood by the door watching until his car disappeared. Then she made more calls. Emergency protective order. Emergency custody hearing. Divorce attorney. Documentation. 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 The CPS worker came Monday afternoon. She interviewed me separately. Asked blunt questions. Did your father hit you? Yes. More than once? Twice. She made notes. Lots of notes. She established a safety plan. Dad couldn't be in the same residence as me. No unsupervised contact. Weekly check-ins with CPS. Dad had to take anger management classes. If he violated any part of the plan, CPS would report it to the court and law enforcement, and the judge could impose criminal consequences. Dad signed it. You could see him seething. Mom filed for emergency custody that same day. Filed for divorce Tuesday morning. Dad hired his own attorney. Tried to fight it. His lawyer advised him not to. You assaulted a minor and locked him outside in a blizzard. You're lucky you're not facing criminal charges. School started back up the following Monday. That's when things got really ugly. Someone told the school what happened. By Tuesday morning, everyone knew some version. The story got distorted. Some thought I'd actually attacked Brittany. Others heard I'd been arrested. Group chats spread rumors faster than I could track. The school pulled me into a meeting Wednesday. Second period. Had to walk past everyone staring. They used careful language, safety protocol, precautionary measures. We wanted to check in, Principal Hayes said. I'm fine. The counselor, Ms. Rivera, leaned forward. This has been difficult. Want to talk? No. Hayes shifted. Standard questions. Any violent thoughts? No. You understand why people might be concerned? Not really, since I didn't do anything wrong. Rivera got this pained look. We're trying to make sure everyone feels safe. Everyone meaning Brittany, among others. They changed my schedule that day. Moved me out of 2 classes with Brittany. Changed lunch periods, different gym section. They didn't say the word predator, but they didn't have to. Teachers watched me differently, cautious. Girls kept extra space. Moved seats. Asked to switch lab partners. Amanda made it obvious. We'd been biology partners all year. Day I came back, she asked to reassign. Said she'd be more comfortable. Teacher approved without question. Lunch became isolation. Corner table, ate alone. I started bringing a book. Tried to make it look like a choice instead of exile. Aurora stuck by me. Sat with me at lunch Thursday. Hey, she said. You don't have to. I know. Some of her friends backed off. She didn't care. I heard her arguing with one of them in the hallway once. She came to lunch with red eyes the next day and sat down anyway. One day after school, Brittany cornered Aurora by the parking lot. You should be careful around him. He's not stable. Aurora looked at her for a long moment. You're worried about me. Yes? After what he did? After what you lied about, you mean? I didn't lie. Your story doesn't even make sense. He had a flip phone with no texting. Your timeline was impossible. You got caught in 3 different lies. So no, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about whatever's wrong with you. Brittany's face went red. She turned and walked away. Meanwhile, Brittany filed a complaint saying she felt unsafe. Said I'd been staring at her in the C-Wing hallway. School investigated. Pulled footage. Found nothing. Because my locker was in A-Wing. Physically impossible. After the second time they found nothing, even staff started looking at her differently. But the complaint did damage anyway. Coach Wilson pulled me aside before gym. Said there'd been concerns about the locker room. Asked if I'd change in the bathroom stall. I didn't argue. One teacher believed me, though. Mr. Patterson, history, called me aside. I know what happened. I've taught Brittany before. If you need a character statement, let me know. Why would you do that? Because truth matters. In March, Patterson submitted my name for a regional academic competition. I got accepted. Started preparing. Finally had something to focus on. 2 days before competition, Hayes called me in. I'm sorry. Your spot's being revoked. Why? I earned this. School board complaint. Having you represent the school sends the wrong message. I didn't commit violence. Every investigation cleared me. Optics matter more than facts to them. Lost the competition spot. Dad violated the protective order in February. Showed up at school dismissal. Security escorted him off. Second violation in March. Grocery store. Dad blocked our path. I just want to talk. You need to leave, Mom said. Store manager made Dad leave. Judge extended the protective order. Warned third violation meant jail. One of Dad's friends showed up at our house. Greg, I work with your husband. Just wanted to talk. There's nothing to discuss. I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. He made a mistake under stress. I've known him for years. He assaulted my son and threw him into a blizzard. Mom shut the door. The custody hearing happened in late March. Dad showed up in his best suit, playing respectable businessman. Clean shave, pressed shirt. His lawyer kept saying it was just a concerned parent who overreacted under stress. Temporary lapse in judgment. Understandable given the circumstances. It sounded rehearsed, like he'd said the same speech 100 times. Mom's lawyer presented the core evidence. Photos from that night showing the handprint bruise, the swelling, the marks. ER documentation listing every injury. Miller family testimony about my condition when I arrived. Hypothermic, disoriented, physical trauma. School records showing Brittany's history of manipulation and false reports against other students. The homework platform timestamp came with a disclaimer. Times are approximate and may vary by up to 5 minutes. Dad's lawyer jumped on that immediately. Tried to create reasonable doubt. Neighbors' doorbell footage had been overwritten. 30-day rolling storage. We were past that window. Not perfect, but the physical evidence was overwhelming. I had to testify. Sat in that chair feeling everyone's eyes on me. Dad's lawyer tried the sympathy angle first. Don't you love your father? No. He looked surprised. Don't you think that's harsh? He nearly killed me. That seems pretty harsh too. Different angle. Your father made a mistake under stress, didn't he? We all make mistakes. I looked directly at Dad. His face was carefully neutral, but I could see the tension in his jaw. He ignored obvious evidence because it was easier than admitting he was wrong. He chose his pride over my safety. That's not a mistake. That's a character problem. Dad's jaw tightened. His lawyer moved on quickly. Because it involved allegations between siblings, the court appointed a guardian ad litem for Brittany. Standard procedure when minors make accusations against each other, Brittany testified. The guardian ad litem advised against it, but Dad insisted. Thought she could charm the judge, probably. Play the innocent teenager routine. She tried the apologetic angle. So sorry, living with guilt. Wish she could take it back. Learned her lesson. Mom's lawyer went straight for the timeline. You said your brother attacked you around 4:15? Yes. And you said he'd been sending you threatening texts for months? Yes. What kind of phone does your brother have? Long pause. You could see her trying to calculate the right answer. I don't. A regular phone. A flip phone with no texting capability, correct? Brittany's face went red. He could have borrowed someone's phone for months of texts without you or your parents noticing? And the homework platform shows his last activity at 4:23. He was visible at the kitchen table the entire time. Multiple contradictions in your timeline. Would you like to revise your statement? Brittany started crying. Real tears this time, but not because she felt bad. Because she was caught and everyone could see it. The judge granted Mom full custody with no visitation for Dad. Decision cited his catastrophic failure of judgment, violence without evidence, reckless endangerment. You nearly killed your child. Your pride mattered more than his safety. This court will not give you an opportunity to endanger him again. During financial discovery, the attorney subpoenaed bank records and found an account Mom hadn't known existed. $12,000 in a separate account. Small investment account Mom didn't know about. The judge adjusted the division because of the hidden funds and the custody outcome. Settlement got adjusted. Mom received 68% instead of 50-50. We moved in April into a smaller 3-bedroom across town. But it was ours, mine and Mom's. No betrayal, no violence. She let me pick my room color, a dark navy, and we spent a whole weekend painting with music playing, actually enjoying being in the same space. I wore extra layers even when it wasn't cold. Couldn't help it. Brittany moved in with Dad that June. His new place was a cheap 2-bedroom with thin walls and constant noise. His real estate work dried up fast. Clients drifted. His brokerage stopped giving him leads. Friends backed away. He was barely pulling $4,000 a month, and that apartment was all he could manage. Brittany hated it. Her new school was rougher, full of kids who didn't care about her old social status. Dad kept violating the protective order. Each renewal came with another incident. In the fall of my junior year, he showed up at my robotics exhibition. Security escorted him out. The judge issued a 30-day suspended sentence and warned the next violation meant jail. That finally shut him down. Meanwhile, my life steadied. Without chaos in the house, schoolwork made sense again. Mom's place was quiet, organized, safe. I wasn't bracing for the next explosion or dissecting every word that came out of my mouth. Math finally clicked. English essays stopped feeling like uphill battles. Teachers noticed, relief in their voices they didn't try to hide. My grades shot up. B's became A's. I made the honor roll both sophomore semesters. Junior year, I joined the robotics club, made friends who didn't know about the mess, didn't care, just wanted to build things and make dumb jokes. Aurora and I grew closer. Not romantic at first, just study sessions that involved actual studying, weekend movies, homework help, and the kind of normal that felt like breathing clean air. She had this steadiness about her. When I spiraled about a comment at school or another protective order notice, she'd just sit with me, listening, without trying to fix me. You're doing good, she'd say sometimes. Never dramatic, just matter of fact. Weirdly grounding. By junior year, I documented everything. Dates, times, exact wording, witnesses. Not paranoia, just survival. Brittany's attempted messages through mutual friends, Dad's voicemails, stray rumors at school. Mom and I recorded it all. I'd learned people believe evidence, not teenagers. Senior year was smoother. My reputation shifted from suspect to kid who got screwed over. Still not great, but better. Enough that some classmates finally treated me like a person again. I got into 3 solid schools. The State University offered the best scholarship, good engineering program, far enough to breathe but close enough to see Mom on weekends. Aurora was applying to pre-law programs within a few hours of me. We didn't talk about coordinating, but we both knew something was changing. I graduated 3rd in my class. Mom cried, happy, proud tears, and hugged me so hard I almost cracked a rib. First time anyone had said they were proud of me and meant it. Dad didn't come. The protective order was still active. Honestly, I preferred it that way. College was a clean slate. New city, new faces, no one whispering about that incident. For the first time since I was 14, I felt like just another student walking across campus instead of a story people. Aurora ended up at a school about an hour away. We stayed in touch, Started hanging out more during breaks, texting every day instead of every few days. Something changed sophomore year. We were studying together over winter break at her place. Chemistry textbooks spread across her kitchen table. She looked up from her notes. So, are we going to talk about this or keep pretending? Talk about what? Us. This. Whatever this is. I put down my pencil. What do you want it to be? I don't know. But I know I missed you when you were gone. And not just friend missed you. Like actually missed you. Thought about you randomly during the day, kind of missed you. Yeah, me too. So what do we do about that? I guess we figure it out. And we did. Slow. Careful. No pressure. Started dating officially spring semester. Long distance was annoying but manageable. She'd drive down some weekends. I'd drive up others. We made it work because we both wanted to. Took me months to tell her everything that happened. When I finally did, she just listened. That's really messed up, she said. Yeah, you're handling it well though. She didn't treat me differently after that. Just kept being Aurora. That meant more than I could explain. We graduated within a week of each other. Both got jobs in the same city. Found an apartment together after dating for 3 years. Mom approved. She'd always liked Aurora. Dad tried reaching out when I was 24. Letter sent to Mom's address. Long thing about regret and growth. I read it once. The words sounded right, but the tone was wrong. Still about his needs. Still making it about him. I wrote back. One sentence. I don't forgive you, and I don't want contact. He tried again 6 months later. I didn't respond. Brittany reached out around the same time. Found me through social media. Sent a message saying she wanted to talk. I blocked her without responding. Then Mom called 3 months ago. Your father's in the hospital. Heart attack. Asking for you. No. Figured you'd say that. Just wanted you to know. He died 2 days later. I didn't visit. Didn't feel guilty about it either. The funeral was small. Maybe 30 people. Dad's parents didn't come. They'd cut contact with him years ago after Mom showed them the photos. A few work acquaintances. Some distant cousins who probably felt obligated. I stood in the back. Didn't participate. Didn't sing the hymns or bow my head during prayers. Just observed. Brittany was there. She'd put on weight, had this worn-down look that comes from years of consequences catching up. Dark circles under her eyes. Cheap dress that didn't fit right. Hair dull and badly cut. After the service, she found me in the parking lot. I was heading to my car when I heard her call my name. Can we talk? She asked, voice shaky, uncertain. No. Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. No. She started crying. Not the theatrical sobs from that night 12 years ago. Real tears this time. Messy. Desperate. Snot running down her face. I'm sorry, she said. I know that doesn't mean anything anymore, but I'm sorry. I was 17 and stupid, and I didn't think... You smiled, I cut her off. You watched me freeze on that porch and you smiled. Then you walked away. She flinched like I'd hit her. I know, I was awful. I've had to live with that every day. Do you know what my life has been like? Do you know? I don't care what your life has been like. We're family. No, we're not. Family doesn't do what you did. Family doesn't lie like that. Family doesn't smile while you're dying. I turned to leave. She grabbed my arm. Not hard, just desperate. Trying to keep me there. I pulled away sharply. Don't touch me. I'm trying to make this right. I'm trying... You need forgiveness. You need me to say it's okay, so you can feel better about yourself and move on with your life. But I don't owe you that. I don't owe you anything. But I've changed. I'm not that person anymore. I've been in therapy for years. I understand what I did was wrong. I understand the damage. You can't make it right. What you did doesn't get fixed with an apology and some therapy sessions. It just is. You destroyed this family. You almost killed me. And for what? So you could go to the mall? So you could avoid getting grounded? Her face crumpled. I was a kid. I didn't understand the consequences. You were 17. You knew exactly what you were doing. You tore your own shirt. You smudged your own makeup. You cried on cue. You stood there and lied to Dad's face and you were good at it. Then you smiled while I froze. That's not ignorance. That's cruelty. That's calculated. People make mistakes. That wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidents. You planned it. You waited until Mom was gone. You knew Dad would believe you without question. She was sobbing now. Real, ugly crying. I've changed. I swear I've changed. I'm trying to be a better person. Good for you. But I'm not interested in your redemption arc. Find someone else to absolve you. Find a priest or a therapist or whoever. But leave me out of it. I got in my car. Started the engine. She stood there in the parking lot crying. Mascara running down her face. But this time, nobody was coming to comfort her. Nobody was going to believe her story or take her side. I drove away without looking back. Aurora was waiting at our apartment. How'd it go? About how you'd expect. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. And I was. No anger, no pain. Just this calm certainty. I built a good life despite what they did. Got my degree, got a solid job, got someone who actually gives a damn about me. That's the real revenge. Not suffering, just living well. The moment that stuck with me wasn't the betrayal or the violence or the storm. It was Mom opening that door Sunday morning. The absolute determination in her eyes. Mom chose me without hesitation. Aurora chose to believe me. Those are the people who matter. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.